Hi, it's Anna. Welcome to Ruhani Wellness Center. Today we have a tutorial on the alignment of the hip in relation to the knee and the ankle when we're doing hip openers. So let's get started. So let's start by defining the hip and the position that we're gonna talk about today. So again, the hip is where the femur bone meets the pelvis socket. And when we are talking about opening the hips, we may mean a lot of different movements. So if this is the joint and you're gonna go into abduction, you'll open it right here. When we're doing extension, we're also opening this part. Even when we're doing flexion, we're even opening this part, or internal rotation, we're opening different little muscles. So today I'm gonna talk specifically when our hip is in flexion. Okay, so when it's forward, like this degree is shorter, okay? And then when it's abducted, so it's out to the side, and then externally rotated a little bit. So when I take my knee in like that. And you can see this when I'm sitting like this, when I'm trying to do the lotus, when we're doing pigeon pose right here, if we are doing this kind of poses, okay, right there, right here, let's say opening to the side. Even if we're here, we're opening the hip over here. When we are laying down and we're doing this, okay? So it's the similar position of the leg where that hip is in front of you, the knee's in front of you, and you're trying to open the hip a little. So what happens during this alignment a lot is that the hip, it's a very movable joint. It can move in many different ways. For us, the knee, it doesn't have so much natural range of motion. It's a different kind of joint, so it's not supposed to move as much as the hip does, right? But since our hips are really tight and the muscles around it can be tight, and even the capsule around the bone can be tight, sometimes we don't have that much range of motion in our hip. It's constricted, and we force the motion that we cannot do with our hips to the knee. So if I'm here, and again, this is in every pose, kind of pose I just showed you. If I'm here and I want to open my hip, okay? And let's say my hips are tight. So if I'm not moving my knee and I'm not moving my ankle, maybe my hip will just open here. If it doesn't open anymore from the hip and I start to push on my knee, then I'm really just twisting the knee on the inside, and then I begin to twist on my ankle, and then maybe it looks like I lowered my hip from here to here, and the knee looks like it's a little bit more open, but maybe my hip is not really opening that much anymore, so I can be twisting from the heel, from the ankle. So it's not an exact science, but in general, you want to have your second toe in relation to the middle of your kneecap. Keep that in line. So when you keep that in line and your foot is flexed, then you're activating your foot. You're activating like you're putting on a stocking of muscles all the way up here, and then you're working really from the hip. So here I'm trying not to rotate from my knee. So this is not moving. This is fixed like I have a cast. So this joint and this joint are as fixed as possible, and I begin to open from the knee. So if I'm tight and this is fixed and this is fixed, then maybe it's only here. So maybe I'm not gonna go all the way here, and that's okay. So if I'm trying to go into full lotus, let's say, or even this Agni Stambhasana pose, which is this, and my hips are tight, I'm gonna stay here, and then my back rounds, and then my ankle twists, and then I'm twisting from the knee. And again, like this relationship is gone. So if I try to keep my second toe in a straight line with the center of my kneecap, then that's it. Okay, I cannot push it lower unless I begin to open from the hip, and then maybe I can lower a little bit more. So you can see this in the bottom leg is the same thing here. So here in pigeon pose, if our hips are tight, I recommend taking the foot in, and you're still stretching for that correlation. It's like you're drawing a line between your second toe, the one next to your big toe, and the middle of your kneecap. So it's still in that same line. Okay, and then if we're here, it's the same thing. So this is why when our hips are tight, to go into flexion, and that's another thing, but when we open it to the side a little bit, we can go a little bit deeper. And then here, if you're gonna open your hips, so if you're gonna do this, I like to try to keep this in line, in general alignment. You should, especially if you're just learning or starting, you wanna keep your kneecap and your second toe in line. So if I open my hip, I begin to come into the outer edge of my foot. And yeah, I can also do this, but then I don't know to which point I am charging the knee. So I try to keep all this, again, like I have a cast. This is stable, it's not moving. And then here I commit from the hip. Same thing if I'm here. And you know I'm coming out of frame, I want to show you my hips. So if I'm here, and I begin to put my foot like this, and again, this is a more advanced thing, but I'm twisting my foot here, I'm twisting from the ligaments of the knee, and I start to do this pose, and it may look like my hip is opening more, but again, we want this to be really stable, this to be stable, and again, it's the same movement. So maybe it won't go all the way down. Okay, so from the side, we may be like this, may not be able to go all the way down here. So here, okay, on the floor, when I open to the side, see? All of this variation of poses. If you want to really target your hip, then imagine you have a cast over your knee and your ankle. And this is not it's not supposed to be a super technical medical tutorial. This is for you to be able to bring it into your yoga practice, especially if you're practicing home a lot, that we're doing that more now. So if you're in your home practice and you're not really sure if you're doing it right, this is a good way to observe. In your warriors, it's the same thing. So let's say warrior 1 or high lunge, it's the same thing. So I'm here, kneecap, toe. So I'm not having my foot looking way over there and my kneecap looking way over here. So toe, second toe in line with the kneecap. Okay, it's the same thing, even here. Okay, kneecap and the line of the second toe. So actually second toe in the line of the knee. So if my hip is tight and the knee goes in a little, okay, and you can see this from this angle in warrior 2. Okay, I actually would rather you, instead of trying to push your hip open, if this won't happen, I would actually rather you turn your toes in a little and make sure that the kneecap is guiding the direction of your toes. So I'm not keeping my knee here and opening my toes that way. Okay, so in different variations of poses, we follow the same general guidelines. Even here where I'm standing, if I want to open my hips more, I turn my toes in that direction. In Utkatasana, chair pose, so I'm not doing any of these weird things that I see a lot. Chair pose, kneecaps face forward, and the toes are always going to be guided by the kneecap direction. So I hope this serves you. It's a very, again, simple, basic things. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'm trying to put in general alignments that work in almost every pose so that, yeah, you can work with them at home. Thank you, enjoy.